at Chepstow in a handicap. Now, you sense that it was mission accomplished that day, Dave, because they're back here in a claimer and they're back in for £5,000, taking 7 off. They mean business. He's here to win and here to go, probably.
Yes, I think that sums it up. I mean, he's going to, even if he doesn't win, there's a fair chance he'll attract some attention from people wanting to buy him, but he does look improved. They looks like they've got the money. They're going to get a little bit more if he wins today, and I would imagine they'll be delighted to see him go. But yeah, he's a good consistent type, and did this really, really nicely.
This was Catterick, last run for Dandy Nichols. He did this tidily enough, but he was more impressive last time when he was ridden by Ryan Weil, who was grandson of trainer Bill Turner. And of course now he runs in those famous silks of Cheltenham Festival winning owner, and of course winning jockey in his time at Wincanton, Anthony Knott. And you, I know, would be disappointed if we didn't really get every last drop out of this story, and as such, please welcome, not for the first time to Racing UK, the great Mr. Anthony Knott. Good to see you here. I thought we were done and dusted after the jump season was over.
No, not at all. Just having a bit of fun, and we hit gold on Monday, and hopefully he'll do the same again here today. He's placed into off a low weight to win, really.
I sort of set it up a few moments ago as saying I thought you might have got the money on Monday at Chepstow, and you were here today just to be really bold and ambitious, put him in for £5,000, take 7 off, win, and then you don't mind what happens.
No, that's right. But if he's a good horse, he'll stay every inch of this today. Hopefully, take it up like 2 out and put it to bed, because a lot of these aren't going to stay.
And Anthony, he's got form with cut, but will he handle it as soft as this?
Yeah, good. Yeah, no problem.
I noticed that changing codes has not dimmed your optimism in the slightest.
Well, no, like I say, we had a nice touch off of him the other day, and he run here today. But the race it's not a hard race, is it? And he's opened up for a bit more improvement.
Why did Kieran not get his flat licence?
They said he wasn't qualified enough. Wins and trains 2 festivals, and that's not good enough.
That does seem rather bizarre. Very,
very bizarre. So I feel sorry for him, because he put a lot of work into Georgie, prior to Bill taking over. And I said, well, try and buy one, win something on the flat. And but there we are. You can't beat the law. It's the same today. I came in, and the lady on the door, I never had me owner's pass, and it's like I was going back to school. She actually writ out a bit of paper, ring Weatherby's.
Oh dear,
it's not good.
You've fallen foul of the authorities again.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? I thought, am I going to get fined?
Well, you only will if you jump on him when he comes back into the winners' enclosure. Now, how's Hunt Ball doing?
Very well. He came back, and he thought he was in the Grosvenor Hotel. I had to actually take the feed to him while he was let down. He was quite exhausted, a lot more exhausted than what we thought. Now I go out there in the mornings, he's up on his 2 feet, and he's very, very well.
Good. And all the cows got milked properly this morning?
They did.
Excellent. Still in one piece?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Anthony, thanks a lot. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Everybody get on.
Everybody get on. He told you at Cheltenham. And if you took his advice, you'd have been handsomely rewarded. He's telling you again. We don't need to analyse any of the others, do we?
Well, we won't. Everyone will be cheering for George Benjamin, that's for sure. No, it's great to have characters like Anthony Knott in the game. There's far too few of them about. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he's a pretty shrewd operator.
He said everyone get on. What's the main danger?
Well, I think it's up until we heard this news, this was one of the tightest races, apart from the outsider who's got no chance. Any one of them on their day, Bunce, he got home, he could have won easier last time out. I think he's okay. Indian Art was in a bit of form. King Swinford's got a good record on soft ground, but disappointed the last couple of runs. They're all in and out horses and claimers, but at their best, any one of them could win.
Well, Knott said he'll take it up 2 out, as Hunt Ball did, kick for home and win. But he's up against 3 course and distance winners, Kingsdine, Indian Art and King Swinford. Can any of those spoil Knotty's party? He's got his money on 11 to 4 into 15 to 8, George Benjamin, while celebrations might ensue here at Salisbury. Here's Richard.
That's one forward with Jessica Ashton. 6 runners are in for the Emperor's Services Claiming Stakes. They're off and racing. a bit of buffeting early on. Jessica Ashton, one of those involved. King Swinford just taking a little bit of time to angle over. The others charting a more direct course to this near side rail. Indeed, King Swinford's coming up the centre early on. By contrast, we have both George Benjamin and Indian Art closer to the rails. Indian Art notably so. Jessica Ashton in red and white, Bunce the grey, and Kingsdine under restraint. So early on, the white face of King Swinford in company with George Benjamin. They are the front two with Indian Art. Jessica Ashton was just slightly caught on heels there on the back of Indian Art, who's drifted back to third. Bunce and Kingsdine still travelling strongly as they make their way down towards the final 4 furlongs. So on the rails, George Benjamin, the well-backed market leader, pale blue sleeves, the white face out in the centre, King Swinford. Kingsdine travelling up strongly red and yellow on the outside of the pursuing trio. Bunce yet to make a move as well in grey. Indian Art is being ridden along, however, and at the rear of the field is Jessica Ashton. So 2.5 furlongs to go. George Benjamin on the rails from the pushed along King Swinford. Kingsdine now comes off the bridle. Bunce just being shaken up in the grey colours. They've still got a furlong to go, and George Benjamin just edging off the rail. King Swinford and Kingsdine down the centre are very close indeed. Bunce is back in 4th place, so into the final furlong, King Swinford's white face and George Benjamin, who's forced to dig deep now, and it's King Swinford who's moved through to a narrow lead from George Benjamin. Kingsdine can't go on. It's King Swinford, Matthew Cosham, who leads by a length up towards the line. It's King Swinford who will win again. Good record in this race, David Evans. George Benjamin second, Kingsdine third. Bunce was next, Indian Art and Jessica Ashton.
David Evans wins the race again. He took it last year with April Fool. He's taken it this time with King Swinford, who's won at 5-1 in the hands of the quite experienced £5 claimer Matthew Cosham. And his superior experience over the rider on the runner-up Ryan Weil that might just have won the day here. He and George Benjamin pulled well clear of their field. George Benjamin was not able to follow up his victory at Chepstow Monday last. He was foiled by course and distance winner King Swinford, who won this very race himself 2 years ago.
Yeah, he's an in-and-out performer, King Swinford, but he definitely handles testing condition, likes this track and stays every bit of the trip. So, yeah, it's no surprise that he's won, and the money for George Benjamin has made him a decent price here today.
It just seemed that as the two locked horns, yes, King Swinford was going perhaps slightly the better of the two, but no disrespect to Ryan Weil, who is quite inexperienced. Matthew Cosham just looked that little bit more polished in the saddle, as befits a man of far superior experience.
He did, and I also think that George Benjamin might just have emptied out a little as well after travelling fairly freely throughout the early part of the race.
Back in 3rd place, albeit at a respectful distance, was Kingsdine, who's in here for 12,000. If you want to claim any of these, King Swinford 7,000, the 6-year-old. The runner-up George Benjamin in here ambitiously at 5,000, and Kingsdine 12,000.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there is any action. King Swinford was not as bothered about getting the rail as some have been, and travelled nicely 3 or 4 horses off. I think George Benjamin's going keenly enough in his young rider's hands, and I just wonder whether that contributed to him not having a lot left in the last 100 yards or so. But I think King Swinford going just as well, but a little bit more relaxed as they reach the halfway stage.
I don't think Richard and Hannon would mind too much if anyone popped a ticket in for Indian Art at 10 grand or Bunce for 7, because neither of them has really covered themselves in glory.
No, Bunce, he was disappointing despite winning last time at Brighton, and he just seems to be that sort of horse now, travels and then doesn't find anything. Jessica Ashton's under pressure at halfway and tailed off as you might expect, but the two that have handled the conditions well are the winner and George Benjamin, and yeah, Jockeyship has won the day in the last furlong.
If you take into account the riders' relative claims, then they were rated to finish quite close to one another, these two. It's a stretch to think that either of them could win off their current mark, 79 or 73.
The reason they're in claim is because they can't win in handicaps anymore.